everyone. Welcome back to Local Ag, your place for all things Bedford County Ag. It is May 14th, 2026. I'm your host, Melody Divers from the Bedford County Ag Advisory Board. Today marks our 21st episode. So thank you, Media Squatch, for your community support. We appreciate y'all. All right, so today we are venturing into a corner of the ag world that we actually haven't touched on before here at the podcast. We are talking goats. We have the folks from Count Your Blessings Farms. Well, actually, you're the solo show today. Aven Alford is here, and she is going to talk to us about goats. But we also want to share that their farm also has not just the registered dairy goats, but they have pasture-raised hogs and registered Angus cattle. So we just really want to hear about the goats and all that fun stuff because, like I was telling you before the show, my mom raised goats just for fun. They were pets, and they do have their own little personalities. Mm-hmm. So welcome. We're glad you're here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So like I said, this is our first time talking about goats on the show. So just give it to us straight. Are they really like the escape artists that everyone says they are?
So what I tell a lot of the people that, buy goats from me is that as long as they have what they need within their fence and they don't have a reason to go outside of the fence, they typically are pretty good at staying in. Now, you can't just use a typical, single wire electric fence to keep them in. They'll find their way out of that. And especially as tiny as those babies can get in, they'll find a hole in the fence for sure. But as long as they're fed and not bored, I personally have not found it to be a huge issue. We use, the American wire, so it's pretty small, like 4x4 holes or cattle panel or something like that to keep them in. And as long as if they get hungry, if you miss a feeding, they will definitely find their way out somehow. But as long as they have what they need, they typically aren't just looking for ways to torture you. And
so it's the planning, but also it sounds like you have a relationship with them. And I'm sure that they know what time it is without being able to tell time.
Yes.
So we got the fun question out of the way because everybody, when you see goats, especially like you can see the cute little videos on TikTok and different things of goats doing the cutest things.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's so cute, but gosh, it would be hard to like raise them. So how many do y'all have registered dairy goats?
So it fluctuates a lot. Okay. Like right now I'm kind of at the tail end of kidding season. So I've got a lot of babies leaving. And then I even have some customers that are taking some of the mamas with them as well. So I usually have anywhere at the height of kidding season with all the babies and everything, I could have as many as 30.
Oh my goodness.
But then once the babies find their new homes and everything, it definitely dwindles. I mean, because goats, I've got one doe that will give me quads every single year. So
and they all survive.
Yeah. So it's
wow.
We can go. The herd grows exponentially during kidding season and then falls off quickly once they all find a new home.
So for folks that have never heard the term kidding season, can you share with our listeners what that means and what that looks like on your farm?
Yeah. So most goat farmers prefer to have all of their does kid within pretty close succession. So it's all kind of happening at the same time and you're just like in the season of it. And typically January, February, March, when it's like the dead of winter is a desirable time for a lot of goat farmers because it's harder for parasites to survive through those hard, cold nights or whatever.
I would say some people would probably be surprised to hear that is
right. The ideal time.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely adds a layer of stress to have these like freeze, below zero nights and everything when you've got brand new babies, and
they never make their way in your house, right?
Absolutely not. No,
never near a wood stove or never in the guest bathroom. Because I know calves with us.
Yes.
We have had a calf or two spend the night in the basement.
You got to do what you got to do. But it is always my goal for these goats to be dam raised. I do not at all. I don't need a baby goat or a bottle goat.
Right.
So I have definitely supplemented, like especially for a mama who's got quads or a first-time mom, sometimes they get a little overwhelmed and they're in shock.
But your program, it sounds like you have strong mamas. That
yes, if you can't raise your own kids, you're out. Like I don't have time to raise your kids for you.
It's so funny on multiple levels.
So kidding season normally, and also certain breeds only come into estrus in the fall.
Okay.
So then, therefore, with a 5-month or roughly 150 for many breeds, 155-day gestation for standard breeds. If they're breeding in the fall, that has them kidding right in the middle of winter, end of winter, January, February, March.
And what breeds do y'all have or like, or what?
So I started with Nigerian dwarf goats. It was a great way to learn. They're so small and easily managed, and don't require as much land and all that kind of stuff. So I started there, and then I fell in love with the standard Nubians. They have these big long ears, and they actually, in my opinion, have a better personality. They're much more friendly. The Nigerians really make you earn your love. And the Nubians are kind of like puppy dogs. They'll seek it out. And so then I've got a really, really great buck. And so a Nigerian buck that I bred with the Nubians and made some mini Nubians. And so they're a really ideal breed because they are smaller in stature, so they're easier to manage, but their milk production is still, or the volume of milk is way more than a Nigerian dwarf goat. And so the Nigerians are great. They have a higher butterfat content in their milk. So depending on what you're doing with the milk, that would also determine maybe what breed you would go for.
And just to remind listeners, the goats that you are raising are not meat goats. No. They are strictly dairy goats. And so their milk is okay for human consumption. And also the closed loop system you have here. You're raising these beautiful babies, and where their mothers are raising them. You're just there.
That's right. Exactly.
Okay. The mamas are there. You're just the Mimi. Okay. Yes. These beautiful babies, but they are not to eat.
No.
So folks cannot order like goat chops from you or anything like that. So when did you decide, hey, we need to get into goats, and we need to make like luxurious soaps and lotions, and like how did you get from this to this?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, I was born and raised, I grew up in a swim and tennis neighborhood in like a cul-de-sac outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So this was never at top of mind for me. I never would have imagined my life coming to this, but it was always a dream of my husband to have a farm and to have cows. And cows didn't really interest me that much when we moved out to the farm. And so I just kind of wanted my own thing to do on the farm. And so I started researching goats and really dove into it and found out what breed I wanted. And at the time it was like, oh, this would just be cool for the girls. We have 3 young girls, and like, this is something that they could be involved in. Like having the kids around the cows is a little intimidating and scary at times because they're so large, but with the goats, they can really get involved and help out. And so, so we started with just a doe and her brother, a weathered boy. And, started there. And while I learned how to take care of them. And then from there, I went back to the same breeder and got a mama with her kid on the side. And so that way I got to start experiencing milking and infant care and stuff like that. And then eventually dove into the breeding of it myself. So I took it really slow. I wanted to kind of make sure to like
understand each step along the way. Plus, you yourself are mothering at the same time.
Right. So, I was overwhelmed enough. I
was going to say, take the goats out of the equation, and you had a lot on your plate. So I think that's probably the wise thing to do. That way you understand everything.
Right.
So that way, if you need to step back and evaluate.
Exactly.
So you talked about the goat milk. That's being used in
goat milk soap and goat milk lotions.
But that's not the only fun thing you have going on. Tell us about the other things that the other animals on your farm.
Yeah. So once I felt like I kind of had my my footing with the goats, I wanted to expand a little bit and got some pigs and started raising hogs for meat and the sausage, and really, really fell in love with them. That came pretty easily. Just caring for the hogs. I mean, I don't breed hogs. I buy them as weaners. So at like 8-10 months old, and then grow them out. And so it all kind of timed together at the same time. Again, just the same way I, spent a lot of time researching the goats before I jumped into it. I was researching the goat milk soap a lot before I really started diving into it. And I kept reading about the benefits of lard in soap, and how a lot of these articles and blogs and stuff that I wrote or read were talking about how back in the day they used nothing but lard and lye, and that's all the soap was made out of. And I thought, okay, well, That's what, and when I was first starting out, I'm like, I'm not trying to invest a whole bunch of money into something that I don't know how it's going to go. So here I have this, beef fat or pig fat. Why don't I try it out? And goat milk has so many great properties for your skin, and it's amazing in soap. And there are some people I know that like exclusively use goat milk soap, but I personally feel that the lard in the soap is what truly makes it. It sets it apart from just like whatever bar of soap you're going to buy at the store. It makes it really creamy and soft and conditioning. And similarly with like beef tallow, beef tallow is having a moment right now. Animal fat is closer to our skin microbiome than any other oils and butters and fats that you might find in other skincare products. So your skin's ability to absorb it and really, make it go to work for you is much more efficient. And so, yeah, I think the lard in the soap, especially combined with the goat milk, really makes a big
so you
difference.
combine the
yes,
two.
yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
the soap has goat milk, lard, olive oil, castor oil, and coconut oil, and that's it. And
so many good things.
Yeah, and it's really like I said, I think the lard really sets it apart.
When you were talking about that, I was thinking about some recipe cards that I had inherited from, like, I believe this particular one was my grandmother, and it was how to make lard soap.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, apparently it's, they would use it a lot back in the day for like pie crusts and stuff.
Lard, they had the lard for that, but she had a recipe under miscellaneous, so it wasn't edible. That section. Right. There was also a recipe for making your own cough medicine and just different salves and stuff. Yeah. So when you said that, I was like, I remember seeing that in her handwriting. That was just how it was done. I think that is great that you're taking the time and other folks are taking the time to really explore those things. And it's really honoring the whole animal because you're using the whole part.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise it would just be left behind at the processor. So why not have them,
Now I'm just going to be, this is totally just me being nosy. I'm envisioning one day you have like 3 kids, animals, and you're like, hey, let's go in the kitchen and make like what kind of chaos did that look like? Or were you like, I've got it all put together? Or was it like a little chaotic?
Well, so, the goat milk came first and we were loving making ice creams and cheeses and the girls loved goat milk. Yeah. We were having so much fun. It was so fulfilling to just go out to the barn and milk the goat and then bring it back in and enjoy it. But eventually I got overwhelmed with how much milk I had.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, what am I going to do?
Like, we got milk coming out of our ears.
Right. And when I was looking up, like, what can you do with goat milk soap or with goat milk? Obviously soap was one of them. But then I think I remember what happened. What brought me directly to the soap situation was people were like, well, you can freeze it. And freezing it is a great way to start it. Or like that's the first step you have to do in goat milk soap. Because when you mix it with the lye melts it. Okay. And if you don't start with it frozen, the lye actually burns the fat in the milk. And so then you can't use it. And all this.
The science is science.
It's a lot, which was not my strong suit in school, but I figured it out. So yeah, I think it wasn't chaotic because I was using it for me. My girls were really young at the time. So for me, it was an outlet. It was a thing for just me. Whereas,
I was going to say, so this doesn't seem stressed. It seems like it naturally unfolded.
Yes. It was like kind of what I needed, in a way it kind of fulfilled, something that I was missing in myself where I like felt like I needed something,
it was useful. You were making something useful, but it seems very creative as well.
Yeah. And that is kind of my wheelhouse. That's, I love to create and work with my hands. So, it was a really great symbiotic relationship between, what I had going on outside the house and then what, I could use to fulfill myself when I was inside the house as well.
And this is just totally off script. I'm so nosy. Pre-goat days, what was your career path?
So actually I taught preschool here in Bedford for a while. And I loved that job. That was a lot of fun. But then basically the farm kind of overtook, like I found myself being really stressed out when I was at work, thinking about all the things that needed to be done at the farm. My husband also works like a full-time, job during the week. So it just.
So you worked with kids.
Yeah.
And then you work with kids.
Yes.
Like you'll be here all morning. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's great. Okay. So you were already kind of career path used to multitasking, having like not a quiet little life. You were used to it. So it was probably easy for you to transition into that. Maybe easier than someone that's just so then other thing is, so it's just the soaps, correct? Are there lotions or bath
so
bombs
soap milk, goat milk soap and lotion.
Okay.
And then we also, we process a couple cows every year and use the beef fat for that. I make tallow, whipped tallow, tallow bombs, tallow chapsticks, tallow face wash, basically anything I can, put animal fat in, I do.
Now, I had someone ask me, because we started selling, I'm not making it, somebody else is, skincare with tallow. So if this was a question someone had, if someone has alpha gal, they should not use the tallow stuff, but they are, what about the goat milk?
Well, because mine has lard in it, it's probably not a good idea for them. Yeah, but I think typically goat milk, I mean, everybody's alpha gal.
That's
kind of different. Everybody has like different variations of it. My husband beat alpha gal, so.
Oh, high five.
He was like, I'm not going to stop eating pork or beef.
Yeah,
and
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, his reaction just kind of got less and less every single time. But he didn't have it as severe as some people
and like
do. So I don't suggest that for anybody. But
just be aware that if this sounds interesting, but you have alpha gal,
which in this area seems to be just about like every other person.
I know. You are right about that.
Yeah.
So do you have a website or do you go to markets? Where can folks get this goodness?
So I do the Bedford Farmers Market every Saturday, which is so much fun. I mean, like that's another part of my personality that I love, just being social and being able to meet people. And I've created made a lot of relationships with people through that. And again, being a stay-at-home mom, farmer, whatever, to be able to go to the market and be surrounded by people and like the community of the market and everything is just super fulfilling and a lot of fun. I have a website, cybfarm.com. All the social medias, we're on all the social media and everything. And so actually I have a lot of customers that will just like message me either on Facebook or Instagram and be like, hey, I want this or that. And I either meet up with them in town or I put it out on my front porch and they come grab it. And so there's tons of ways to access it. And I try to make it as easy as possible. I'll come meet you. I'll come deliver it.
Yeah. So this coming Saturday, you'll be at the farmer's market.
Yes.
And what will your farm have this weekend?
This weekend, I'll have all my normal goat milk soaps, lotions, all the tallow products. I've started making tallow dish soap that people are loving. It's it's really cool. It's like in a ramekin, and then you have a brush that goes with it. And then when it runs out, I sell like a refill. So it's zero waste, really easy. And I've been getting a lot of really good feedback on it. People are really enjoying it. And
excellent.
I'll have all that. And then I'll also have, we tried a new processor out that I really like for the pork. And so I've got 3 different flavors of brats that I think will be fun for people to throw on the grill because we're going to have some weather. Yeah, exactly. And then some of my pasture-raised sausage that people love. And I think that's it for the meat, but all the normal soaps and lotions and body products and everything I'll have for sure.
They can find, you have a website, you're at the Bedford Farmers
Market. Oh, and the Well.
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, I sell my products at the Well. So Mary Jo and her husband that own the Well, they're great people and love them. And she became a really good customer of mine. And she got her twin sister hooked on the tallow too. And then she was like, why don't you sell this at the Well? And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, of course, I'd love to.
That's awesome.
So that's great too. Because like if somebody's looking for something specific and maybe, it's a weekend, last weekend I wasn't at the market because I had, a friend that got married and, so I can tell them, we'll just go to the Well and grab it,
What a great,
yes, that's awesome.
Not
exactly. Yeah.
And how, in a month, how many days do you spend like creating?
So I typically try and like do it. Like I try and just like put my head down and hunker down and make. So like the beginning of this week, I made probably 80 bars of soap, and that way it can give me then a couple of days off to get back up on, all the other things that are going on. But, if you're making one batch of soap, you can make 4 in the same amount of time, basically. So it's easier to do it all at once.
The other night I was cooking dinner for that night. And then I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get tomorrow night.
Exactly. Just knock it
I was
out.
like, just get the kitchen all
I'm
messed
standing
up.
at the stove. I might as well, yeah.
Here, and while I'm letting this simmer, I can go ahead and get this done. So tomorrow I can just pop it in the crock pot.
Exactly.
So that's just good kitchen wisdom.
Yes.
And I think we would be remiss if we did not talk about the name of your farm.
Yeah.
So if you need to get in your feelings on that,
I know. I probably will, but
get in your feelings if you need to. But really tell us that the name is Count Your Blessings, and that's plural because you got more than one blessing.
That's right.
And so to share with us that, and just maybe anything else that you think we need to know about.
So the name is kind of a tribute to our oldest daughter. Mm-hmm. So our oldest daughter was born with a really rare genetic mutation that has left her pretty significantly cognitively and physically delayed. So at 12 years old, she has developed to about like a 6-month-old. So she can't walk or talk or feed herself. I mean, a sip of water has to be provided for her, kind of thing. And so our entry into parenthood was pretty rough. And, those first probably 5 or 6 years were a struggle. But we also quickly learned that like we can't sit in this space forever. We can't just live in the grief forever. And so we have to find a way to get through it. And the easiest way to do that, I mean, it's like clinically proven that when you sit down and think about what you're grateful for and you list it out and you remind yourself of all the good things that you have, it does a lot for your mental health and for your psyche and for just your outlook on life in general. And, being a part of the disability community and being in waiting rooms at specialty hospitals and doctors' offices and stuff, we really were able to gain a new perspective of like, wow, yeah, we were dealt a pretty rough card, but we're also visibly seeing just how bad it could be. I mean, there are people who would kill to have our problems. We don't, while she deals with a lot and we do by proxy of her, we're not necessarily like scared for her life, and not every parent is lucky enough to say that. And so that's just something we just got to count our blessings. Sometimes when we're in a bad, rough season, we just have to remember just how lucky we are. And we were blessed enough to go on and have 2 more really beautiful, healthy girls that really just light up our world, and they love living on the farm and everything. And it kind of, having that experience with her primed us for so many other things. Farming will really test your resolve and your patience, and kind of same thing, just trying to always remember just how lucky we are to have the resources that we have, to have the family support that we have, to have so many things that Absolutely. Most people would kill to have. And then my husband was actually diagnosed with bladder cancer a couple of years ago. And so that same mentality really carried us through that situation, because, bladder cancer won't kill him, but it'll be a tough fight for the rest of his life. But, you're sitting in the oncology waiting room and like, a kid walks in. And it's just like, geez, yeah, okay, this isn't great. We don't love this. We wouldn't have chosen this for ourselves. But man, are we lucky that this is all we're dealing with.
You have the resources and the
right and
the
like
availability.
Exactly. You've got people who have brain tumors. You've got parents that are helping their kids fight cancer. So we can deal with a little bladder cancer. He'll be all right. And so he was able to maintain a really great attitude through the whole thing. And if it weren't for my oldest, I don't know that we would have the resolve and the perspective to always be counting our blessings.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of children and women. Anyway, yes. I'm an educator. That was my first career. So I do believe that mental health has such a valuable aspect to our health. Sure. And I write in my gratitude journal every night, even on days that I'm like, this was such a bad day. But like you said, there are people that would give anything. Right. Our bad day would be their good day. Exactly. So you just have to really keep things in perspective, because if you let the negative thoughts and things like that get a foothold, it really, medically and mentally will bring you down. For sure. And how, as a mother with 3 children, and then knowing that one has special capabilities with your heart. Yeah. How do you manage that for the mamas listening? How do you do all of that and still have the care and the
Yeah. Yeah.
a good attitude that you have.
Well, definitely with the younger ones, just get them involved. You
Mhm.
know, I make them do it.
Yeah.
I have a really funny picture of my youngest sitting on a portable potty on the back of the mule, because I'm like, well, we're in the middle of potty training, but we got to go feed the cows.
It's
Like, we got to
happening.
go do stuff. So we
Mhm.
just bring the potty with
Absolutely.
us. You know, it's just, you just kind of learn to adapt along the
Mhm.
way. But as far as, you know, with my oldest, where I'm incredibly, incredibly lucky and blessed to have help. I asked for help, and that was something that took me a long time to figure
That
out.
is a hard thing.
But yeah, I rely on a lot of help, and I'm really lucky that I have a lot of support and I have the help that we have. But yeah, and then you know, I think also not only kids, but you know, your husband and the relationship that you have. I hop in that mule with him, and if I can, and even if it's just to go feed the cows together or go ride through
We call
the
those
field.
farm dates.
Yes, exactly. Right. Grab a little cocktail, grab it, go, hop in the ATV and go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just try and do it together if you can.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
When you work with your husband and you raise children and you're all the things like, that's still very important to still like date your spouse and not just become business partners.
For sure.
So, but that's a whole another episode or two about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it has been so lovely chatting with you and
Thank
getting
you.
to know more about your family and your farm. But my favorite part was the reasoning of your farm name.
Thank you.
That was the best part of the interview. I love that. So thank you for sharing all of those things.
Yeah,
and one more time,
me.
Share your website and where you'll be next.
Okay. It's cybfarm.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram as Count Your Blessings Farm. And then we'll be at the Bedford Farmers Market this Saturday and almost every single Saturday through the month of September. It's right here on, or what is it, Washington? Yeah, Washington Street, from 8 to noon. And then you can also find it at the Well in Bedford.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Mackenzie, we're going to turn the rest of the episode over to you. Mackenzie Mutter is here. She is the superintendent for the Bedford County Fair. And I really am just going to let her say whatever she wants to say about the fair.
Okay, cool deal. Well, thanks for having me. First, I'd like to say just how excited we are for the Bedford County Fair to return again this year. So the fair will take place August 21st through the 23rd at Liberty Lake Park in Bedford. So we're working hard to create an event that still has something for everyone and also keeping that strong agriculture and community-based foundation. We are also partnering again with the Toms family at Allen's Mountain Livestock Company to again host the livestock and horse show piece of the fair. That will be held September 5th and 6th at their farm on Timber Ridge in Bedford. So lots of exciting additions while also keeping some of those traditional pieces that you're used to seeing at the carnival portion of the fair. So we'll have a lot of great food vendors, non-food vendors. We're excited to also get to include the home goods and the art contests back at one central location this year. We're working on enclosing the pavilion that's at Liberty Lake Park to get to include those so you can check those out while you get some fair food and go ride some midway rides. We'll have the old McDonald tent again with the livestock and local 4-H and FFA kids. So that's always a big hit to walk through and
I just hope
check that out.
Ducklings are there. Like,
yes,
that's all I can perseverate on every year. And I'm not even a bird person.
Yeah.
Like, not to be mean. I'm not a bird person. But those ducklings, they just have my heart.
The duck slide is iconic. Yeah. Everyone loves that. Yes.
It's just like, if you walk by there and you don't smile, you don't have a soul.
That's right.
They are just precious. Okay.
That's right. I guess some of the new additions that we're looking forward to having this year at the fair, we've typically always had evening entertainment. So we'll have that and beyond. So I'm excited for kind of just a general rundown of what that side of it looks like. Friday we'll have, that's our opening fair day. So that'll start at 4 p.m. We've got an entertainer in the evening, and then we're actually going to wrap that night up with a line dancing instructor. So that's something new that seems to be a pretty popular thing for all ages of our area. So we're excited to have that. Saturday, We'll have our community expo that morning, which is usually from 10 to 12. And we're working on a partnership with the Bedford County Animal Shelter to hopefully host an adoption event as part of the community expo. So I think that'll be a really meaningful new piece to add to that community event that kind of gives people a chance to come through and check out some of our local partners before the madness of rides and cotton candy and lemonades and all that, kicks off at noon, which is when our midway opens on Saturday. As far as entertainment goes, we'll have several live bands throughout the day on Saturday into the evening night hours. So those will be announced here soon. And then Sunday, of course, fairgrounds open at 12. We'll have the midway opens again at 12 on Sunday as well. And Sunday, we have our community talent show. So this was something that we had years ago when the fair was at Glenwood. And it just kind of lost its, I guess, the head honcho of running that up. So it just kind of fell to the wayside. But I'm excited to bring that back again this year. So Sunday, we'll have the community talent show. Registration will be open soon for that. We'll have youth and open divisions with some awesome prizes for our winners there. And then we'll round out Sunday afternoon with a kids dance party with DJ Showtime. So that was really fun last year. John was great and got everybody motivated and all the kids out having a good time and enjoying the last day of the fair. So we're really looking forward to being back and partnering with the town who graciously lets us host the fair.
I was going to say they're wonderful hosts.
Yes.
Very amicable to work with.
Very much so. And then, of course, we're very gracious for Jody and Richard Toms, who will, again, be hosting the Livestock and Horse Show. That's, again, September 5th and 6th. We're swapping things around a little bit this year, and the livestock piece of the show will be on Saturday the 5th, and the open horse show will be on Sunday the 6th. So all of the events, the fair, as well as the horse and livestock show, are free entry, free parking. So that's something that we've tried to hold value in is, offering a fun, family-friendly thing that's affordable for our community. So as far as the livestock and horse show goes, we want to see spectators come out, check out your local youth and adult exhibitors there. Saturday will consist of hogs, sheep, goats, cattle classes. Usually they get started about 8 and run into the early afternoon. And then Sunday we'll have the open horse show. So that'll have everything from minis and draft horses, hunter horses, western horses, and then we've got some games and speed classes incorporated to the end of the show. So we look forward to
well-rounded out of it.
Yes, we've got a little something for everybody, whether you're showing or you're coming to watch.
Yeah.
Yep. So I guess as far as community members, if you'd like to get involved, we encourage people to follow along on our social media pages for updates and announcements, and then also schedules and applications as those become available. So we are pretty active on our Bedford County Fair Facebook page, and then we also have a new and improved website, which is bedfordvafair.org. Okay. So you can check out all the schedules and excitement, and it's also got opportunities for volunteer opportunities as well as sponsor and vendor applications on that site as well.
And the vendor applications are live?
They are. Yep.
Okay, that's good.
Yep. They're live for both food and non-food vendors. We've already started making selections for some of those. So if you're interested, I would recommend, getting on that and getting your application in now, because we've had a lot of interest in both sides of that. So they are live on the website, and Miss Carolyn and myself have been working through those and have some selected. So it's all becoming very real, and
it's happening.
It's sneaking up on us. It'll be here before we know it. Yep.
Just to reiterate, the fair, when we say fair, we're not talking about the livestock portion. We're talking about the home goods, the carnival.
That's right.
the music, that kind of live entertainment.
Yep.
That's at Liberty Lake Park, and tell us the dates.
August 21st through the 23rd.
And now it's free gate admission, but your rides, that is a cost, and there will be like wristband days.
That's right. So wristbands and I believe tickets as well are available on site during the fair.
Okay.
Parking and admission is free. Your ride wristbands and tickets
and food and all your other
correct,
extras
are sold there.
That's on y'all.
Yep.
And the midway hours, tell folks again what that looks like.
Yeah. So the fair opens at 4. The midway will also be open then. We're open our kickoff day on Friday from 4 to 10. And then the fair grounds are open on Saturday from 10 to 10. But the midway does not open until 12. So that's if you want to come check out the community expo, we have that 10 to 12 hour period where mainly up around the pavilion, you'll see like local community partners.
Like nonprofits and
correct.
Stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay.
And at 12 is when the midway and most of the food vendors, everything on the lower portion.
Like in the baseball field.
Right. Mm-hmm. That will open at 12 and run until 10.
Okay.
And then Sunday we're open 12 to 6.
All right. And then, so parking is available on site?
Correct. We also have shuttles available. Shuttle locations, those should be squared away and advertised on both social media and our website. So if you don't wish to park on site and, fight the traffic, you can park at one of our shuttle locations, and we'll have several shuttles run in to drop off and take back to vehicles.
Okay. Anything else you think we need to know?
Not anything specific. I guess I just want to give a shout out to those who have continued to support the fair, and we look forward to having you and hope you'll come check out some of the new exciting things that we're adding this year. And we're just, as always, grateful for our community for the support and for the county fair.
And we're thankful for your leadership. So thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to wrap this up today. I've turned my notes to the side. I haven't even been looking at my notes because it's just been such a friendly around the kitchen table kind of conversation. So I'm just going to end with thanking our guests for being here and to just reiterate to support local ag. There's so many different ways you can do that. And y'all be good to yourself and be good to others.